Hello, this is Aaron Mean of SG Gaming Info, and welcome to my video review of Koei Tecmo's Atelier Sophie, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Book for the PlayStation 4. Koei Tecmo's Atelier series is a franchise that I've only ever dabbled in once or twice, and for the most part I've enjoyed them. And so, with that said, I did enjoy Atelier Sophie, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Book. Atelier Sophie takes what the Atelier franchise does best and builds upon it in many positive ways, and while some aspects have improved, others have not. Atelier Sophie follows Sophie, a young novice alchemist who lives in a medieval-style town called Kirchen Bell. While Sophie struggles with alchemy, she finds a mysterious book in her house. As she writes in it, the book begins to float and talk. The book reveals its name is Plakta. However, Plakta can't remember most of her past, but tells Sophie if she wishes to become a better alchemist, a device known as the Cauldron of Knowledge would allow her to use powerful alchemy. However, to find the device, Plakta needs to remember where it is. And so to help Plakta remember, Sophie decides to learn more about alchemy and to write the knowledge she gains into the mysterious book, as writing alchemy recipes appears to restore Plakta's memories. Sophie's journey to restore Plakta's memories and to find the cauldron sees her venture out with her friends Monica and Oscar, as well as making new friends during her journey. Atelier Sophie's story is a heartfelt journey of discovery that shows that you can't gain anything without hard work. However, the story is very slow and I can see it putting off those who aren't willing to put in the effort. However, with that said, if you put in the effort, you are well rewarded, as you see Plakta transform from a floating talking book to an animated doll containing her soul, and you learn more about your friends. For those wondering if the game has a major villain, yes, it does, but you won't find it until about 15 hours into the game. As I said, the story is rather slow. Moving away from the story, let's talk about the characters. I absolutely adore the characters in Atelier Sophie, as the game really helps you get to know them, with character events and simple interactions. You also get to see them grow as people. For example, Harold, the owner of the town's clock shop, doesn't like clocks and only runs it because he inherited it from his father. But as the game goes on, you learn more about him, and honestly by the time I finished the game, my opinion on Harold completely changed as we learn about him and see his struggles. Moving away from the story and characters, let's talk about the gameplay. Just like in previous Atelier games, Atelier Sophie's gameplay is split between combat and alchemy, with alchemy being the more developed of the two. In the combat portion of the game, you find yourself on the world map exploring locations, fighting monsters and collecting materials for alchemy. In the alchemy portion of the game, you find yourself taking the materials and using them to create items that assist you in battle or further the plot. In many ways, the combat and the alchemy portions of the game complement each other, as one cannot function without the other. While you're out fighting monsters and gathering materials, you can take on requests and purchase rumors. Requests are essentially quests that ask you to gather items or kill certain monsters. Rumors are pieces of information that reveals powerful monsters or increase the number of materials in a certain location. Speaking of locations, Atelier Sophie features a day-night cycle, weather effects, and a calendar. Keeping an eye on these three features is important, as they help determine what monster spawns, what materials are available, and what events you can do. Now, I only briefly touched on alchemy and combat, so let's talk about them a bit more. If you've played any of the Atelier games before, you'll be happy to know that alchemy has received a bit of an overhaul. There is a lot more work required to create and discover new recipes. The most prominent change is to the cauldron, because as you go to create a recipe, you are greeted by a 4x4 panel. This 4x4 panel has you place the materials on the tiles, with each material taking up a different amount of space. Choosing where to place the material is important, as it can alter the effects of the item you are making. Learning how to use the 4x4 panel system is important, as some recipes can only be unlocked by making a previous recipe with a certain trait or effect. And honestly, it is easier said than done. Overall, the change to the alchemy system is a major boost to the game, as it now feels more personal, as you need to do more than just find a bunch of materials and throw them in a cauldron. Now let's talk about the combat. and while there are some improvements to the combat feels flat. For me, combat felt like a job. It was something I had to do whether I liked it or not. Combat in Atelier Sophie is turn-based, with you choosing the actions of all 4 of your characters. Your options consist of selecting an offensive or defensive stance, followed by an attack, item usage, guard, or skill. After that, you just rinse and repeat until the battle is over. Now, while I didn't think much of the combat, there are several additional features attached to it. This includes the chain link gauge and an LP meter. The chain link gauge is a bar that increases as you attack. As the link gauge fills, characters will perform support and special attacks. Regarding LP, it isn't as much as a combat feature, but as you explore the map, each character's LP meter slowly drains, and if it gets too low, you do less damage in combat. The LP meter refills when you return home. One final note regarding combat, and that is the leveling. The max combat level in the game is 20, but once you hit 20, you gain attribute points, which allows you to increase your stats and skills. As I said earlier, the game does feature a day-night cycle, weather effects, and a calendar. But the game also features shops, doll making, and a dressing room. There are 7 shops in the game, including a duplication store which allows you to make copies of important items, a blacksmith for making weapons, and a clother for armor. The shops also sell a wide variety of materials, which means you don't always have to leave town to gather. The doll making and dressing room features are both unlocked a few hours into the game, with the doll making allowing you to alter Plachta's doll appearance and stats, while the dressing room allows Sophie to change between her usual self and her new self. Before I give my conclusion, let's talk about the graphics and audio. Graphically, the game is very eye-catching as characters wear clothes that help them stand out from the background, and on the audio side, there is an issue with lip syncing, because in conversations, which are now all in 3D, I noticed that characters continue talking despite their lips not moving. So, in conclusion, Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book, is a heartfelt journey of discovery that features a great alchemy and gathering system, but a subpar combat system. And so I give Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book, a score of 9 out of 10, with the game's pros being a heartfelt character-driven story, a lovable and engaging cast of characters, alchemy is fun yet challenging, and the fact that the time of day and weather affects the game. And the cons are, the combat system is subpar. Thank you for watching, please like, favourite and subscribe. For more gaming information, please visit sggaminginfo.com. And don't forget to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/sggaminginfo. And follow us on Twitter at sggaminginfo.